Hello.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, Miss. Hi as always.
I get that. Okay, so do you have in-game and third party, or do you just have in-game?
I got both, Miss. I got both.
Oh, perfect. All right, let's start with the in-game, and then you can kind of tell me what's happening as it's happening.
Sure.
Okay. All right, give me 1 second. And let me just grab a screenshot of your demo. Can you highlight which demo it is for me? Oh, okay. All right, got it. Go ahead. That's okay. Take your time.
Okay. So on this scene right here, notice that the subreddit coming down with the running around with the river
Okay.
came down CJ, and then at some point just noticed that the another dinosaur with the arrow. Saw that the subreddit is going arrow.
Okay.
The subreddit got the pair first before.
Okay. So the Subrex and the Utah have a body, basically.
Yeah. And
Okay.
now we are doing the next recall. Gonna do a recall on this side, then I'll be on M.
Okay.
Do a 4 call at the first comeback time.
Okay.
At, at the same time, and this gets messy because our other the rest of the members are on this side, and we're not in V. They had done their own thing. So as
Okay.
we're contesting for her body, they started a combat with a different solo,
Okay.
and eventually the they didn't finish their combat, and the Aloe went towards the direction where the server was going, and he got intercepted by them as well.
Okay.
So we finish, we got our body. They're still over here fighting.
So I'm guessing they just didn't realize you guys were over there on a body.
Yeah. So on third party, you see in our group chat, there was mentioning Aloe, which is Aloe here, but we thought they're mistaking the subreddit for the Aloe, for the Aloe for the subreddit. So
Okay.
once someone says Aloe, and then my wife corrected them by saying subreddit. So we thought we all were in the same thing, but turned out they were both right.
Okay.
And we didn't know during combat either. Just sitting on the body. And
Yeah, and that's fair. I can understand, there's quite a bit of distance between you guys and them and trees and hills and all that stuff in between.
we when we look back to this, basically told ourselves like, let's not be in a group without VC. But this could be missed. This could have been more
Yeah.
complicated. Eventually, they both end up sitting, still in combat, but it's I think about 2 or 3 minutes, Yellow will start running up to. But he doesn't end the combat. I don't know, but Costal's combat is still going. And at the same time, this is happening. One of the subrats, Rex Sparrow. So we there are
Okay.
when you speed out for the Yellow start.
Yeah, you can speed it up a little bit.
Oh, shoot. Oh, okay, now he's moving. Alright. Else. He's done healing. Doing his path. He could have ended the Carno, but he chose not. And around this area, he's gonna get spotted. Or the Yellow start. I kind of.
Okay.
Yep, there's the right. There's spotted the. I don't really know what that was thinking. Around when you get to the river.
Okay. Okay.
Just the whole first second scenario.
Okay.
Is there any? No.
No, I mean, so far it looks like everything kind of played out, per the rules. Like I know that your two Carnos were fighting the Aloe originally, and you guys have body. There was obviously some confusion there. Um, but as far as your interaction with Centurion and her group, it looks like everything kind of went how it was supposed to.
Would the Aloe
Yeah.
get his Aloe back? Because what
Um,
happened?
yeah, because he did get killed in the 5 minutes. Although Centurion and her group probably had no clue that they were in combat with you guys at one point in time. The aloe I could give the aloe back. But I need you to grab the
Aloe.
aloe's name for me. Yeah.
While we're at that, oh, hang on. There, I had a friend named Chronox. He said when he killed you, I think it was like 2 months ago. When he killed you earlier, when you were he spotted you when you were alone. Spotted you when. and he died. He got the right away to you that you were close to your group. When does it become the point when he's not able? I got it.
I guess I'm not sure what you mean.
Oh, a little while ago. So basically, he found a lone Utah, which is apparently you, and
Okay.
then he thought, oh, the lone Utah, easy kill, easy win. So he ran towards you. You were in combat with a Rex, if I remember the story. And then you ran back to your group who was in combat with. Oh, you ran back to your. And he got there, and he still killed you anyway. I'm guessing because you're able to get back to your group, he's not allowed to kill more.
I honestly wouldn't be able to say because I don't know the circumstances surrounding it. I mean, the way that you're describing it, it sounds like had a group that was in combat and I was on my way to the group or something of that nature. And he saw me while I was going to the group and my group was in combat. So I mean, if he killed me while my group is in combat, then it sounds like a rule break on his side. Whether he knew my group was in combat or not, or knew that I was in group with the people who are in combat is a completely different story. Um, it would really depend. Like if like let's say I saw him chasing me and I was able to take the time to let him know like, "Hey, I'm in combat, my group's in combat, yada yada yada." It would just really depend. It's really hard to say because I don't know the details surrounding it.
Okay, that makes sense. It's been a while. I
Yeah.
thought it's hard to remember because I because when I saw the aloe, that reminded me of a chronic story about you and him when he
Mhm.
found you when he was when you were in combat. So this question came up. The aloe didn't clearly have a group. He was still in combat, but
Yeah. Yeah, it just really depends. Because very well, even if it was like technically a rule break, maybe he had no clue that my group was in combat. So would he necessarily get in trouble for that? Not necessarily. I mean, it just like with this situation, the Subrex didn't know that the Aloe was in technically in combat because there was, trees and hills and all that stuff in between them. They had no idea,
right.
or at least I would assume that they had no idea. So it's possible that that was the type of situation. Maybe he just had no clue that I was in combat or that my group was in combat, I should say. So it just really depends on what was actually happening in that moment. And since it was so long ago, I would never be able to remember exactly what happened.
I have his ticket number. He's it help because well, I'm hearing that the difference between seeing your group in combat versus seeing your group not in combat will be the deciding factor if if it's if they're allowed to continue attacking or to stop attacking. But like you mentioned,
Well, yes and no, because like I said, if I had time to stop and tell him I'm in combat, even though he didn't physically see me in combat, that's different. He's been told me or my group is in combat. And if I had time to tell him repeatedly, because sometimes people will say it multiple times, "Hey, I'm in combat. Hey, my group's in combat. You can't attack me. Stop attacking. I'm in combat." Blah, 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 blah. At that point, then that's kind of on the player who continues to attack, because they've been told. And I know some players are in like group chat or local chat or whatever, which is why I tell players they really should pay attention to global chat. Even if they are talking in group, they should still pay attention to global. Give me one sec. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
it was about a year ago. We were told not to care about reading global or so that makes
Mhm.
sense where you're. So when
Yeah.
I know an admin told us like you don't have to, you're not required to read global. Required to read.
No, you don't have to, but we highly suggest it because of situations like that. Even though you may be in like group chat, we still suggest that you click over into global chat if you can, especially if you're in combat, because people do try to communicate with other people, and if somebody is seen trying to communicate, it kind of changes things. They're actively trying to communicate with somebody, so it just kind of depends. It depends on the circumstances.
Okay. So basically, if you're in combat, be in global chat. Don't be in. Well, then being that's complicated. Okay.
Yeah. It is. It is. It can be complicated, especially if somebody's not in VC and they have to rely on group chat to communicate. It does get hard. And honestly, that's the risk that they take. That's the risk that they take not communicating with their group either via global or in VC is you have to be clicked over into group chat to communicate. And people might be trying to communicate with you in global chat.
Okay. So in future reference, if my group get attacked and we ask someone to run out the group because they're bleeding, they don't want to get caught while they're bleeding out, so they run away and try to hide somewhere. And then a different group happened to catch that one group who's trying to run away, and
Mhm.
they chase that person instead. And now both parties, including the new one, have to be on global and on team chat.
Yeah, you might have to flip-flop between chats back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Okay.
And like I said, it is inconvenient, which is why being in a VC with your group is ideal, so you don't have to do that. But unfortunately, it is, like I said, the risk that you take not being in global chat.
So as long we say the line like, "Hey, we're in combat," then we're safe. If we lose the downsword after the line, then we get the downsword back. Try to.
Yeah, you always want to try to attempt to communicate if you can. Sometimes you might not have time to. They just don't give you enough time to communicate, or something of that nature. But trying to communicate with them is the best way. Um, and of course, like if you did die to a rule break, even if the other group didn't realize, you were in combat or something of that nature, you'll most likely get your dino back regardless, even if you weren't able to communicate with them like, "Hey, I'm in combat."
Okay. And then they get rule broken. They didn't read the fine line on global at that moment.
They probably weren't looking at global chat. Most likely. I mean, I can't say for sure, but yeah.
So they don't get a strike.
Uh, it really depends on the circumstances. I can't say yes or no to that.
Okay.
It just depends. But
Okay. Okay.
was that all of the situation
No,
or
there's another one coming up in 14 minutes under the comeback timer.
okay.
This one just came up
Okay. Did
because
we did we grab the aloe's name?
yeah, I got it while we were talking.
Okay. All right, got it.
Yeah, I saw this on a replay, and that whole scenario came up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it really depends on the circumstances.
Okay. So basically, they had to either send a third party showing that they didn't see it, or don't show a third party.
Well, I mean, either way, the person who died, if them or their group was in combat, they're most likely getting their dino back as long as they have video to show proof that they were in combat and they died to an uninvolved party. As far as what happens to the rule breaker, it just really depends on what is seen from their side. What was there some extenuating circumstance that maybe they didn't know, maybe they were too far away, maybe they caught this person far away from their group and would have no way of knowing that they were in combat. There's so many different factors that could play a part that determines certain things.
Okay. So since since they didn't see the owl having combat, then they're not in trouble because there was nothing indicating that he was in combat or already. If he ran to a group like his group over here, and they're fighting another group, and they see him running to that group, would that automatically tell them that Aloe what group is in combat with them, and they should stop right there? Like if you see his group over here.
Not necessarily, because that aloe could just be running past that fight. Maybe that aloe's running up to just go watch that fight. Maybe the aloe's running for AI that's behind the dinos that are fighting. I mean, we can't make the assumption that they're part of the group just because they're running towards the group. There could be multiple reasons why that person is running towards a group that's in combat. I watch fights all the time. I'll run up to two other groups that are fighting all the time. I won't get close to them, of course, because I don't want to get killed, but I'll run up and watch their combat. So, I mean, we can't make the assumption that I'm part of one of those groups just because I ran up to watch combat. You know what I mean?
Okay. Do you mind if I continue talking about this situation so I can get a better idea why he got a strike for it?
Of why who got a strike.
So, as I mentioned before, I think a month or 2 months ago, a player named Chronix spotted you alone, and you.
That I wouldn't be able to explain. I didn't handle the ticket. I'm not the one who gave him a strike. I don't know the situation. I didn't see the video. Like, I wouldn't be able to really answer much because I don't know the circumstances around it. I don't remember it. So I don't know what exactly happened. For now, we'll just have to handle this situation. Um, I mean, I've pretty much kind of explained as best as I can.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, like it's hard to go back to a situation that happened months ago.
Okay. All right. Next part. Do I have more? Fine. It was over here on this side.
Okay.
Okay. It was like a minute. So when my wife she came up to this hill, she heard the stuff in Utah. More Utahs come by this way,
Okay.
and we were trying to determine if that's the group we saw earlier or that completely different group with some of the same species carnivore. We're gonna be out of range mid fight, but we got the middle, we got the beginning and the depth, and then we got the entire fight on third party. One Utah's gonna come up here, our Utah's gonna come on this side here, and you're gonna see the subrex.
Okay.
Oh, there they are. Now they're trying to determine.
Okay.
And then on third party, you see on the group chat, at some point when the server got around here, I believe, that's when we realized it was the same group. They bolted for out here. They mentioned they were in combat already. It's a little confusing. But it might have been a different.
Yeah.
Then they start combat with our Utah here. About moment. Bite. There's the first bite. So combat initiated under the combat.
Okay.
Around this time, Centurion will tell these Utah that one of them is freaking, and it's died and it which doesn't make sense because they both were together when they did the first initial.
Okay.
Fighting fronts right. One group fighting over here, and eventually this fight over here will uphill. And then combat ends with our Utah going down. I believe the Condos recall and then the rest recall back. And at some point, I think like a minute, 2 minutes in, a random Utah came by and bit Centurion's that Utah.
Okay. So the double Rexes are with Centurion?
Yeah.
Or those are your double Rexes?
No, that's Centurion's double.
Okay. Okay. All right. So the first combat happened at 29:36. That's when combat was the first combat. Second combat happened at 45:47, which is obviously under that 20-minute timer. So I'd have to get names of the people involved in the first combat. The one thing I did notice is in that first combat, it didn't look like they were grouped with these double Rexes.
No, the first combat it was just Centurion and another
It was
Utah,
just Centurion.
and then
Okay.
later on, when we were sitting on the para body that we fought for, she was with them mid river, like with maybe
Okay, so
5 minutes.
they joined group together.
By our view, yeah. I'm pretty sure
Okay.
they were the same group already. They just got back behind because they're they're more mobile. I'm just a little further behind, and they caught up, and that was the. I think they were a great group. But here this random Utah came by and bit them while we were in combat with them. And at some point it got a little messy because there was no definitive end of combat. And at some point Centurion said, I've seen why we're losing the body. So then we kind of thought, is that a trap to get us killed, or is that saying they're giving? There was no official ending. I checked the replay. There was no deaths. There was just another Utah that randomly the rule broke them.
Okay.
At some point, I'll come up and I just sit next to the body. The chair will sit up and then move away from it and just them. And then that's when we established that okay, so we do have the body. Everyone can come to the body now.
Okay.
But there was no ending to the combat via the. There was no body down. There was no. There was a 4 call and a 3 call by Centurion, but it was like really quick succession. Like a mistake happened, so we thought it was still. Cause she made 4 call, and the next second she did a 3 call, so we thought, oh, she just made a mistake, or did a fat thing still going, or she was looking at the Utah over here. We didn't fully. So we did hit her.
Okay.
And then that was basically our interaction. We stepped on our body, and they're finding their own thing with that Utah that fit them. The rope.
Okay.
That's it.
So
That's it.
so just based off the in game, because obviously I haven't seen the third party yet.
Right.
I could see how there could be some confusion as far as whether or not you guys were the same group. Because I know when they fought you guys the first time, it wasn't just strictly, Utah's in your group. So
Right.
I can kind of see the confusion. But I'd have to go back to like the third party, watch that as well, and see what was going on with that.
Okay. Is there anything else? Oh, did we got the name for the Utah that went down? And the name of the Utah that
So
broke?
I need you to go back to your first combat,
Okay.
which was at 2936.
Almost done.
Yep, around there. And then grab me the names of who was in Centurion's group.
Okay.
So basically just get her group mates' names. Okay.
That's the
Hold on one
first one we
second.
noticed. Oh, lost.
Let me just grab a screenshot here. Oops. Okay. All right, got that one.
If for David Utah under error. Just waited for that. At what point do you say it's pretty obvious to together from a different point of view?
Seeing them travel together, join combat together, protect each other, that kind of stuff.
Okay, so right here. Okay, yeah, so it's traveling together. Or other.
And so you might have to restart it. Okay. Let me grab that one. Okay. Okay, got that one. All right, got that one.
I do.
Okay, that's fine. All right, 1 sec. Okay, got that one.
That's all of them.
Okay. Okay, so that's the group at the first combat. So now skip to the second combat, and we're just gonna basically verify everybody's names again. All right, so that's the same subregs. All right, go ahead. And luckily this time we won't have to take screenshots of any names unless somebody else joined the group, of course. Okay, you can get the next one. All right. You can get the next one. We're just verifying names this time, so you don't have to wait to get screenshots. Unless, of course, it's a different player that joined the group. That's fine.
Oh, didn't I forgot to get the names when. Gotta get the name for
Okay,
all
let
of
me
our
grab
group.
that one. Okay. All right, I got that one.
Forgot to get the name for all of our group members when we all sat together on the body.
That's a new name as well.
You,
Is your group mate or is this?
yeah, this is our group.
Okay, this one's yours. Okay.
We had to go back to the first combat when we all finally got together, like how Centurion did with her.
Okay. This is the Utah that dies as well, isn't it?
Correct.
Okay. All right, let me just make sure I got that screenshot because it didn't pop up. 1 second. Okay, yep, I got that one. Okay, go ahead. We got that one.
Yeah, that's everybody.
Okay. Okay. So I shouldn't actually need your group names. It's mainly just the rule breakers and the people who died.
Okay.
So the yellow and kind of purpley Utah looks like the one that died, and that's the one whose name we got. So
Yeah.
um okay, so go ahead and show me the third party of the first combat, and because you guys contested for that para body, so go ahead and show me the third party of that
Okay.
part of the situation.
Third party interaction.
Okay, let me turn the volume up 1 second. Okay, go ahead.
It's by the water.
What's up, Rex? And you see that on the lower right corner, Maya said Aloe. And we assume that she was taking this of Rex because she's like she's really close to our left. So we
Okay.
to just
Okay.
realize that the body did.
It's in combat. It
Eric,
has a body.
I killed a para. Man.
Should I recall it?
Yeah. Work on.
Okay. Yep, I heard it. I think that third 3 call and that 4 call happened at like the same exact time.
She got her 4 call and she got her 4 tree.
Yeah. Okay. And then do you have third party of the second combat?
I do. Got it. Volume up.
Okay, go ahead.
They were discussing they're the same group.
Yeah, I can see the one saying same group maybe.
We said we were the same group.
Okay.
Yeah, on different third party on different we will see what she got on global. But clearly he's not on the global chat right
Okay. Okay. And then you said that she said something in global?
Yeah, it was during when this show around this time she said that one Utah's in combat, the other Utah is not in combat, but the Utah combat, if they die, it's on them. Around this time, yes, she.
Okay.
We
And
had,
you said you do or don't have um third party of that,
we do.
of like global chat? Okay. You're fine.
Correct. So, in the group chat, she said, "Saying Grills, this is about the time they're about to be in combat with their runner."
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Your side. And we had no clue what's really happening. I didn't have a clue. Okay.
Yeah, I saw
If
you guys were like further away.
are they going RO, going towards it, or away from us? It was kind of late, but once we realized they're in combat,
They're chasing Naya.
I remember trying to tell Stan and Globo that they're part of our group. I forgot when exactly. I checked my. But it should pop out on.
When it pops up, do you want to go ahead and pause it for me?
Yeah. Okay, we're on global. Oh,
Okay.
so I did tell her the entire with. Oh, I did tell her early.
Okay, so what did she say? Just so you know, the Utah not in combat needs to move. If I kill you, it's on you for RBing. All right, let me grab that. Okay. Got it. Okay, so that's what she had said in global right before everything happened.
I did.
Right when combat was starting.
Yeah, it was like right right after combat started, and then she sent that message. I didn't, but I did tell Sen that we had to talk that she was
Okay.
facing. So she was a glow at the same time I was in.
Okay. Okay. Well, we can get the Aloe and the Utah back. And I think I have everybody's names. So I believe I have everything that I need. Yeah, I think I should be good.
Said believe. What else are you thinking that you might need?
I'm just kind of running through my head like the scenario, the situation, and doing a mental checklist, thinking of everything that I might possibly need. And I can't think of anything. So that's why I say I believe I have everything I need.
Okay. Just to make sure we're on the same page. So we got the names of who first combat with me, Kitty, and Centurions all
Mhm.
on the call.
Yep.
Then we established the group that she's in. About 5 minutes later, when she paired up with the Pararex, the Juice Red, and the other youth.
Yep.
We got the name the Aloe who got killed by the.
Yep.
And then anything important when we get the rest of the group together, that's not too relevant. I think that's everything.
Yeah, no, because I mean, like I said, I don't necessarily need your group's names because your group didn't do anything. So I don't really need anyone's names from your group other than the Utah that had died, which I got. The Aloe who died, which I got. The only one's names I really needed was the other group of who was all involved, I guess you could say. So yeah, I do believe I have everything that I need.
Oh, we're forgetting about the other Utah that rule broke when the
Oh,
end.
yeah,
I
yep,
forgot.
yep, you're right. The one that bit them while they
Yeah,
were yep.
yeah.
Okay, if you wanna go back to your in-game and
Thanks. Okay. Here it is. Just gonna-
yeah, I just remember seeing them pop up on the top of the hill when they were walking down.
Subrex bleeding. Subrex bleeding. So didn't came just yet. No, just one bite.
Yeah, because I think they were still walking down the hill towards the Subrex when that Utah popped up.
Okay, there it is. This was the Utah that they chased after the Aloe. But
Okay.
we were too far to see what happened in that fight.
Yeah.
So I don't know if what Centurion said earlier. She said the other Utah can't join. But they could have been on this Utah's comeback with. But
Yeah, it's hard to say what she specifically meant or which Utah she was specifically talking to. Um, that unfortunately I can't determine who she may or may not have been talking to in that moment.
I noticed Utah earlier.
But
Oh, sorry.
no, you're fine. But I'll do my best. I'm gonna assume that because that was during the right when the second combat had like just started is when she said that. So I'm gonna assume that she saw another Utah or something in the area and thought it was like part of your group or part of another group and said, hey, you can't join. That's my assumption anyway. It's hard to tell because there's a lot of Utahs in the area, so it's hard to say specifically which one she may have been talking about.
Just kidding. There's our. There's no other dinosaur besides. Okay. I don't really know why she said it. When you there's nothing else.
Yeah, I'm not too sure on that. Maybe she saw one down the hill, possibly.
We
I
was
have no idea.
we was seeing it in our catcher because our it would have been down over here. She's. Hey, guys over here. You see name down here, and they're like up here. I think we would definitely thought that.
Yeah, I'm not sure which Utah she was talking to.
Alright. Got the sorry, that name, got chronic, got the name involved in the. No,
Yeah,
that's
I think
it.
that's everybody. That's everybody at that point. Alrighty. All right. Well, do you need help with anything else for this, or are you good?
Just want to make sure we're on the same page. So we had to be on global and group chat, basically the same time whenever we in combat. It's basically the risk you're taking during combat. You had to pay attention to chat on both sides.
Basically. So I wouldn't say you have to be, of course. You don't have to be. That's obviously their choice. It is kind of a risk you take with, you know, not being in VC, sadly. But you can't force someone to go to global chat. That's up to them.
Are we?
I suggest being in global chat when you are in combat if you're not in, VC with your group, just so that way if somebody is trying to communicate with you, you can see it. But again, that's totally up to each individual person's choice.
Okay. So regardless if they either stay in a group chat or they swap back and forth in global and group chat, they can still get rules struck in if they chose not to be in global nine or in the community.
Possibly depending on the circumstances. Them being in group or global is not going to determine whether they necessarily get a strike. It really depends on the circumstances, what's happening, it what the situation is. There's a lot of factors that go into it. But if it's something to do with global chat, I would suggest trying to either be in global chat or try to flip between the two so you can try and pay attention to both chats.
Okay. So
Or to just avoid the problem altogether, be in VC with your group.
that's fair. But not everyone want to be C. That's a whole different topic. But okay. So to help, I don't want him to be in trouble again based on what happened. Like it's very similar. You saw on his third party, he was never in global chat. He stayed on group chat only. Yeah, we were told by admin a while ago. Like you said, you're not required to be in global or local, so you don't have to know everything happening. Find someone who happened to be on a unfortunate. What are the exceptions that you just mentioned that we need to look up of?
Like I said, the only way to try to avoid that if you're not going to be in VC with your group is you're going to have to try to pay attention to group and global. That's literally the only way you can really avoid it. Again, you don't have to be, but that's the risk you take. You know what I mean? So, unfortunately, that's just kind of how it is. Um, if he wants to avoid problems in the future, I would suggest, like, when you are in combat, pay attention to your group if you are in a group. If you're solo, obviously that issue can be avoided much easier because you can just sit in global chat. You don't have to communicate with anybody. But if you are in a group, try to pay attention to what your group is doing in game. Even if you can't type to your group, try to pay attention to what they're actually physically doing because that could help.
Okay.
Um, if and the crappy part is you kind of have to rely on your group to communicate with you too. So like let's say one of you is further away and gets in combat, it's going to be up to the person who's in combat to try to tell their group in group chat, "Hey, combat just started. We're in combat." Stuff like that. So that way the rest of your group knows. And that's the hard part with that. So it does make it more difficult when you can't be in VC with your group. It does make communicating a lot harder.
I do have his ban explaining why he got banned. I'm pretty sure we didn't read that correctly. By any chance, you can to read it, and see
I mean, you
what we're
could
trying.
send it to me, but I mean, there's nothing I would be able to do about it.
I understand. I'm just asking to see what we missed to determine why he got a strike. Because it shows the
I
whole
mean,
story.
you could send it to me.
Okay. I sent because on the conclusion, it basically said that the Utah ran up to the group, then shortly he continued to fight the Utah into.
I do remember this situation now. We were at Canyon and we were actively in combat with an adult Rex that was sitting on the cliff. And it was a few Carnos and I think some Utahs ran up and they specifically attacked me. And myself and my entire group typed in global and local trying to tell them that we were in combat. I even ran because I had backed off of combat because I needed stamina. So I was sitting a short distance away getting stam. And when they bit me, I tried to type in the chat that I was in combat. And I think I typed in global twice. One of my group mates typed in local 2 or 3 times, trying to tell them that we were in combat with the solo Rex that was sitting on the cliff. And even after doing all that, I think now this is just a guess. I don't know for sure because again, I didn't handle this ticket, so I don't know. I am guessing they probably got a strike because a majority of that group all stopped fighting except for 1 or 2 people who continued to come after me and ended up killing me. So if I'm guessing, most likely, how is it that 90% of the group was able to determine that there was ongoing combat and all stopped combat except for the 1 or 2, I can't remember how many people it was, but the 1 or 2 people that continued.
It was a lot. There was your group, the Rex, and then group 2 with the Cardinal Utah, and then his group 3 with 3 Utah. It was a lot happening, and it got real
Yeah.
messy.
Yeah, because the group we were fighting was what we thought was a solo Rex at first. It wasn't. It was actually a Rex and a Carno. The
Okay.
Carno wasn't involved because the Carno wasn't there. So the Carno was sitting off to the side. And so it was us 4 Utahs fighting just the Rex. And then another group of Utahs showed up. I think there was like 4 or 5 in that group. They knew that we were in combat and they walked off and sat off to the side. And then we continued fighting the Rex. And then this group with the Carnos and Utahs showed up. And then they ended up attacking me. and we said we were in combat like however many times, and most of the group stopped fighting or attacking me, except for one or two, if I remember correctly. I remember the situation from the description, but some of the details are kind of blurry.
So basically, he got strike on the very last one. It was group 3. He got notified that you're in combat, and even after notification on both global and local, one or
Yep.
one or two, global and local, he still came after you. He don't read global or local. Killed you anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the description that I'm reading,
After
or from what I can remember.
okay.
So that's what it sounds like. So in that situation, that is one that you would definitely want to switch out a group chat, especially if you see the person that you're actively attacking stopping repeatedly and typing in chat. You can see them typing. That person might be trying to communicate with you, might be trying to tell you something. And then you see me running back to a group that's in active combat because they followed me back to my group who was fighting the Rex.
Right.
So it's like in that situation, you can kind of see or at least kind of tell there might be something else going on, if you're paying attention to everything that's happening around you. Maybe he wasn't, maybe he was,
Tunnel.
tunnel
Tunnel vision.
visioned. It happens to a lot of us. We tunnel vision on whatever we're fighting, but you want to try your best to kind of pay attention to what's happening around you if you can.
So
Not saying that accidents don't happen. They do, accidents do happen.
So TLDR, if you're assuming the risk of an RB, if you don't pay attention or make the choice to pay attention to both global and global, local, and group chat, it is the risk that you assume take. You don't look all three.
It's kind of the risk you take if you're in group chat knowing that you need to communicate with not only your group but also kind of paying attention to global as well.
Just during
It is
combat.
kind of a risk. Yeah, if you're not in combat, then by all means you could sit in group chat all you want, but when you're in combat you want to try to pay more attention if you can.
And regardless if they're either they are or they aren't, they still get the rubric anyway because they've been notified or been attempt to be notified of what's going.
Yeah, in a lot of situations it can definitely work out that way.
Wait, not all of them?
Well, as I said before, there's some situations where it might not work out that way. It depends on what is actually going on. What are the extenuating circumstances? You know what I mean? Like I said, if he had been, like, let's say I had been across the map behind a hill with trees in between me and my group, that's not his fault. He has no way of knowing that I was in combat. In this particular situation, I wasn't. I was like 3 Rex lengths away from my group, sitting directly next to them, getting stamina. If he had attacked me and I was like over a hill and there's like rocks and trees in the way, so he can't see my group, he can't see that there's ongoing combat, that's not his fault. He has no way of knowing. That's what I mean by it. It kind of depends on what's actually happening, what's going on, what's extenuating circumstances are there. It's kind of the same with somebody attacking somebody on a body.
Okay.
Let's say you attack me and I have a body. Was it dark? Was it a juvie? Was it in a bush? Is there a possibility that there was a way that you couldn't see that body? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got it.
We have to try to take those into consideration as well.
Okay.
Again, I don't remember all the details from this situation because it was a while ago, but I do remember the fight and some of it. So it's hard for me to say, and like I said, I didn't handle it, so
okay.
I don't.
Then I was misinformed.
To put the details in it.
That's my fault. I was misinformed. He told me that he saw you alone by yourself somewhere out in the map, and then you ran to you over trees and hills. Okay. Okay. So
no,
I probably
was like maybe 3-4 Rex lengths away, sitting down, getting stamina in a clearing, and my group was directly in front of me.
Okay, that makes more sense because
Yeah,
that's why when he told me that he saw you far away, That's when the aloe thing came in mind. 'Cause he was far, far away, over
Yeah, no,
over the trees
we
and
were
hills
right
stuff.
there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Everything understood now. Okay.
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 All
That makes more
right.
sense.
Well, let me finish out your ticket. Unless you have any more questions, then you should be all free to go.
Global group chat dilemma thing. Cover being able to tell on global now. Cause before this ticket, I thought we don't have any obligation to yell out we're in combat or we're this and that to avoid from this happening, or
Yeah.
to not be aware of what's happening, or just to fight someone far away over rock, trees, and hills and kill that person who was in combat because they ran away.
Yeah, in that situation, there's not really a way that somebody's gonna know if there's, rocks, trees, hills, all that stuff in between. That's not really their fault. Will that person still get their dino back? Most
Yeah,
likely, yeah.
yeah.
Will that person get a strike? Most likely not, because we're gonna see, okay, there's no way that person's gonna know that those people were in combat. You know, yes, they were in combat, but there's no way they're gonna know that.
So, or is it like if it's open field, then being global and group chat is more in line with rule breaks with it? Because it's pretty obvious that you're in eye distant of your group in combat, like you mentioned,
Yeah.
and compared to being group
Yeah, so,
chat
like,
and
if you're, like, in, like, Twins, where it's wide open and flat,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Then you might wanna pay a little bit more attention, and try to flip into global group chat, if you can. I know, like I said, sometimes you can't because there's things happening, but if you can, try to flip between the chats to
Okay,
kinda save yourself.
okay. An enclosed area is more unlikely to be
It's
rubrican because
it's
all
more
the
unlikely, yeah.